Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the First Nations Housing Community Webinar Series. Today we have Michael McKay from Anishinaabe Nation and Henry Noctegal from Winnipeg Chimney Services here to talk about improving wood stove safety in First Nations. But first, we'd like to know where everyone is tuning in from. Let us know in the chat at the bottom of your screen. We'd love to see. If you have any questions during the webinar, we have a Q&A session at the end of the presentation. Please put your questions in the Q&A box, not the chat, and we will do our best to get to everyone during the session. This webinar is also being recorded and will be uploaded to our website shortly afterwards. Oh, I see we have the Yukon, Vancouver, FNHC's Brantford office. Lots of communities across Ontario. Oh, and Saskatoon. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Now, Mike, I'll let you take it away.
Good morning. Thank you for that. Yeah, so my name is Michael McKay. I'm the Infrastructure and Housing Director at Anishinaabe Nation. I'm based out of Thunder Bay. I'm originally from Bearskin Lake, which is a remote community in northern Ontario, and so which is actually a Nan community as well. By schooling, I guess I'm an architectural technologist, and and have had a few roles at tribal councils as a technical service advisor or a housing coordinator, and so but now I've since moved on, and this is my new role at Anishinaabe Nation. So I'll pass it off to Henry to introduce himself.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me here on this webinar. I've been involved in the wood heat industry all of my life. I did work with my father as a boy on into doing a lot of adult education throughout the 90s. I am an instructor with WETT. WETT stands for Wood Energy Technical Training. I have a real zeal and a love for the North and the people in the North. And yeah, I'm looking forward to presenting this little short webinar. Thank you.
So I'll just share my screen here. How's that?
There we are. That looks like the beginning of your presentation, and it's full screen, so we should be good to go.
Sorry about that. Yeah, so thank you for joining us today. So I'll be presenting on the improving wood stove safety in First Nations. So I'll quickly give an overview of Anishinaabe Nation. It's a PTO, a political territorial organization. We service 49 First Nations. 33 of those First Nations are remote and are only accessible by flying in or during the winter road season around January, February, March is when the winter road season opens. So it's a large territory. It covers a large portion of Ontario. It spans from the Manitoba border all the way to the Quebec border as well. So it's a large area. To quickly, just a quick fact as well is that there are 6 winter road corridors, and so which connect a number of those First Nations. And like I said earlier, that's open during January, February, March months. Background on the Woodstove Exchange project. The remote NAN First Nation communities face a combination of significant geographic, logistic, and economic issues that make it very difficult to participate in any conservation and climate change mitigation initiatives. Wood stoves are the main source of home heating in a majority of NAN First Nations. Upgrading to higher efficiency, low emission models is an important action that remote communities can undertake to reduce the impact of climate change and also create a healthier indoor environment and support local economy. So not only do the high efficiency stoves provide relief for environment with less reliance on DGS systems, which is diesel generator systems, but it increases fire safety efforts in the community by reducing the chance of accidents. And when we did approach this, when we did develop this idea for this Woodstove Exchange project, we didn't want to limit it just to the wood stove. We wanted to include the whole system, and so the wood burning system, which includes all the way from the non-combustible floor mat to the wood stove to the flue pipes to the exterior chimney, all the way to the chimney cap, right? So we wanted to address the whole wood burning system and not limit ourselves just to the wood stove. As well, we did receive a mandate from the NAN chiefs mandating NAN to work on the Amber's fire safety campaign. I'll just quickly go through the Amber's fire safety campaign on this slide. In May of 2016, NAN Grand Chief Alvin Fiddler, with the support of the NAN Chiefs in Assembly, launched Amber's fire safety campaign to increase fire safety within the territory. Goals of the campaign is to provide every home in the NAN territory a smoke detector, also develop partnerships for the campaign, and also we established the Amber Fire Safety Campaign Working Group, which includes our federal partners, Indigenous Services Canada, CMHC, Canada Mortgage Housing Corporation, Ontario First Nations Technical Service Corporation, Ontario Native Firefighters Society, Aboriginal Firefighters Association of Canada, the Fire Marshal of Ontario, and a number of the fire chiefs from municipalities and cities as well, mainly Sioux Lookout, Greenstone, Timmins, and Thunder Bay. They've been very important in this campaign. They've developed, they've really guided us through in our work. And I remember one of the first items they said is fire prevention education is the #1 priority. So education is kind of what we've always focused on as directed by the working group. Other goals is to increase fire safety education and awareness, including support for certification in wood burning systems and fire prevention services. The 4 pillars of our campaign is education, training, partnerships, and capacity building. Let's quickly go over the project timelines. I just wanted to note that some of the dates and activities needed to be altered due to the pandemic, but this should have been how the project was initially planned out. So wood stoves purchased and prepared for winter road delivery, and usually in the fall. We already have a set material list that we properly procure to ensure that we have competitive prices on that. Winter of 2019-20, wood stoves travel to communities via the winter road. Winter spring of 2020, home assessments are completed by the First Nation. WETT training can begin. Summer of 2020, wood stove installations and inspections are conducted. Winter of 2020, old stoves will travel back will be transported to Thunder Bay for proper decommissioning and recycling. Just wanted to go through some of the challenges that we faced during this project. You know, there is a recognized need for appropriate wood stove safety education and distribution of material to be shared with the community members. High efficiency stoves require different installation and operational techniques that communities can or may not be familiar with. So this is why the WETT training is so important in this project. And one of the things we wanted to ensure when we started this project was to have the WETT training delivered at the community level to make sure that, you know, we have proper community participation. Sometimes it's difficult, especially for communities that are located in a remote setting, to travel to an urban area to seek this training. So delivering the training at the community level was very important to us. One of the most challenging aspects we are experiencing is how to complete the training component during this time. And I'm sure Henry will go through some of that. Although WETT has now gone virtual with their courses, this is still a roadblock and a challenge for many of our communities. You know, whether it's due to internet connectivity. So we know where a lot of the services have gone to virtual platform. So that's something we're trying to work with Henry and the communities as well. Success stories from the Woodstove Exchange Project. Education and knowledge sharing is a key component of the project because it allows the community to have individuals who are familiar with the wood burning systems and have completed their WETT training on site in communities, and to be able to operate, repair, install, and assist others in the community on their own terms. We have heard from a community that they have continued to install and inspect wood burning systems using their WETT certified individuals beyond what NAN had or has provided. Although it's difficult to measure preventative measures, we hope that with training and education resources we have provided will encourage more discussion around fire safety within the communities. Also, we continue to, we hope to see this funding opportunities continue in the future, so we can continue to improve energy efficiency and fire safety and protection for the First Nations we service. That's the end of my my presentation.
All right, now we'll take it over to Henry for his portion of the presentation.
Okay. You putting me up? Okay. So they should be able to see it. You can ask quickly. Can you see my my presentation right now?
Yes, we do, Henry.
Okay. Well, thank you for inviting me to this virtual conference. It's a great pleasure to talk about the project we have been conducting with NAN, WETT, the communities, and some of my technicians. The idea for this project started back in 2012 when I was teaching core WETT courses in Inuvik, Northwest Territories. With WETT, the education is in a classroom. And then you are to receive hands-on training from individuals within the trade. But in Inuvik, who is there to train the students or candidates? And also for most of the students, sitting 8 hours in a classroom for 6 straight days was less than ideal. I designed a course using WETT's 3 core courses, the code compliance, wood burning, and site basic. The code compliance course is the course that is the foundation for all of WETT's courses. In this course, we cover how codes come into being, wood heat safety and regulations. The wood burning course is a course of a different. It has case studies. The students work together through these. The Site Basic is an inspection course. SITE is an acronym, and it stands for System Inspection Technical Evaluation. We take each of these courses into a community. And the first visit, we take the code compliance course, as well as a tech of mine who is WETT certified. We'll conduct some hands-on training. Some of the events are taking a wood stove apart, learning how to use a moisture meter, handling different components of a venting system, how to use a draft gauge, etc., while I take the students into a classroom. Just click on here. Why the need for training? Because we see installations like this. First, so many chimneys do not have the correct height penetrating through the roof. It is required in the National Building Code of Canada in clause 9.21.4.4 to be what we call the 3-2-10 rule. This rule is a requirement in ULC S629 standard, a standard to which chimneys are tested to, and it is required that every manufacturer of a chimney shall have it in their installation instructions. CSA B365, an installation code for solid fuel burning appliances, states the same requirement in clause 6.2.2. Secondly, many of the stoves that are installed are very unsafe, and the condition of the appliances are beyond poor. In one home that we entered, there was a hole right through the stove. The flames were inches from a combustible wall, and this home had 6 children living in it. Thirdly, what was being burned? Education is needed on how to burn and what we call an advanced combustion stove or high efficient stove. In the class, the students will watch together at least 5 videos on proper burning, operating, harvesting fuel, and proper installations. The videos are appreciated by the students. The need for training. The need for training is definitely evident in how chimneys have been installed. The need for training is definite evidence when we see the clearance to combustibles are not there, they're not installed as per manufacturer's installation instructions, using the correct chimney components, having proper chimney clearances. Then in an extreme condition, such as a chimney fire, we would expect at least the house being lost to flames, or worse yet, fatalities. Also notice the creosote formation in the flue pipe. The soot creosote buildup is way too much, and we should expect a chimney fire from a buildup as we have seen in this picture. Training. So training is needed in the NAN communities. That we have conducted and almost completed this training with inspections of the students' work at a follow visit in 6 communities. We have also conducted code compliance class in Fort Albany. COVID stopped us from continuing with a second visit. In the Northwest Territories, the teaching is conducted a little differently. There is no classroom training, only hands-on. No one in that training will become WETT certified unless they go on and take WETT courses. Here you can see some classroom work. The picture on the top right is of students learning about how the advanced combustion stove works and how to piece it together. The students also have at times to present their work to their colleagues and to their instructors. This skill is needed as they will have to explain how wood stoves work and about wood heat safety. Learning how to use a moisture meter. The correct moisture content in the fuel is critical. Here, my assistant Rebecca is teaching the students how to use their moisture meter. According to CMHC, the correct moisture level is between 15 to 20%. Personally, I find a 20% to be a little high, and I'd like to see it between 12 and 18%. It is interesting, following this lesson, that all the students have to test the firewood. The community receives a moisture meter as a gift. The students do go around the community playing with that moisture meter, checking their own and neighbors' firewood. And the next morning, I hear many horror stories. Here is a comparison of freshly cut firewood on the left to seasoned firewood on the right. Notice the differences. The wood pile on the left is a yellow color and it has no cracks in it. Compare that to the seasoned firewood. It has cracks in it and has turned into a grayer color. That is the picture on your right. The wood pile on the left would be at the low end of a reading with a moisture meter, around 30% moisture content, and at a high end, 50% of moisture content. The wood pile on the right would be about 15% moisture content and ready to be burned. Here is a piece of fuel that did not burn well, and its moisture content is visible on the moisture meter. The moisture meter is reading 50%. Now compare that moisture content to a live tree still standing. It is the same 50%. So what happens when you burn wet, unseasoned wood? Heavy creosote formation, creosote and soot formation is evident quickly in a chimney. The National Fire Code of Canada states this about a chimney maintenance in clause 2.6.1.4, sentence 2, appendix A states, the presence in a chimney of deposits of soot or creosote in excess of 3 millimeters thick will indicate the need for immediate cleaning, possible modification of burning procedures, and more frequent inspections. This chimney definitely requires an immediate cleaning and is in danger of having a chimney fire. I purposely did not give you the worst of the chimneys with a buildup of soot and creosote. I have pictures where the creosote has leaked out of the flue pipe over parts of the stove and floor. Others where the chimney is almost plugged. I chose a picture that is a common condition in the communities and one that is very dangerous. This is what the roof and flashing look like on that installation. And I do not have to say that this is a hazard. Did you want to run a poll question now?
Which poll did you want to run there, Henry?
I'll leave it up to you.
All right, so we're just going to launch a poll just to kind of see where our audience is at. You'll see it pop up on your screen.
What is the most common way to heat homes in your community or tribal council area? Is it wood stoves, electric heat, diesel generator systems, or natural gas? Do I go on? Can I just X this out? I will continue. During hands-on training, the students with an instructor do conduct complete wood stove system installations. Here they're learning what the different components of the system are and what their purpose is and how to install the system. The student on the left is assembling a hearth pad, and the student on the right is finishing the installation of the complete system. The students here are removing an old chimney and it's flashing. Here the students are carrying in the new wood stove, and then the students are placing the fire brick and baffles in their correct spots in the wood stove firebox. And what are the results? The result is a good installation and a safe installation. When the appliance, chimney, flue pipe, and ember pad are installed correctly, and those living in a home do not put combustibles around or on the appliance or system, then we will never see another house fire in a community caused by chimney fire or an appliance. With the advanced combustion stove and proper fuel used with proper moisture content in the fuel, you should see no smoke coming out of the chimney. If you see smoke coming out of the chimney, the burning practice is not good by the user, and the chimney is expelling pollution, and creosote and soot will be forming in the venting system. And if I had enough, and if I had a bad enough in the appliance, and if I have a bad enough, you'll see this soot in the appliance as well. Maintenance is very important.
Looks like we have the poll results there, Henry, if you want to address those.
So from our those who have shared, 37% say they have wood stoves as a primary heat in their community. The exact same 37% have electric heat, 3% has a diesel generator system, and 23% have natural gas.
Looks like we also had a couple in the chat that commented that they have a combination of wood and oil furnaces as well.
Oh, good.
Thank you, Henry.
In the maintenance part of the course, the students are taught how to replace gaskets on doors or other places, or if more than one gasket is used on the appliance. Maintenance is very important, and the students in our third visit to their community are taught about this maintenance, and chimney sweeps, 2 chimney sweeps work with the students on a chimney sweep. A sweep on the roof shows proper sweeping techniques, while the sweep inside the home shows the students how to correctly be cleaning the appliance and what to look for in maintenance. The final visit is an inspection course, and the students do conduct inspections of the systems they have just installed, as well as pre-existing systems. And what are the results? They're good, safe systems. I will state that one of the safest forms of heat for a home is a solid fuel burning wood stove. A good system design, a good installation, following all the applicable building and fire codes and the manufacturer's installation instructions are critical. It is very important that the First Nation communities do have good training in regards to solid fuel systems. Knowing the applicable building codes, products, good designs, and skills to install and maintain the system, along with more education for those who use the appliances. I also need to say that the use of the advanced combustion stoves or high efficient stoves are very good for the environment. We could call these appliances, when burned correctly, to have 0 to very low carbon print, and the fuel used is a renewable resource. The amount of carbon dioxide expelled in these appliances is the same as a tree dying and rotting in the forest. Let's put one more poll on. Stoves. Have you worked with high efficiency stoves, advanced combustion stoves in your community or tribal council, such as the Osborne 2000? Either it's often, not often, hoping to in the future, do not have access or need to use one. Conclusion. What we have observed is that the students have made great accomplishments. The installations of the students overall have been very good and very impressive. The 4th trip into the community, and we are conducting inspections of the students' work, is a very key component to the success of this program. That trip gave another opportunity for more education. The more you learn, the more you know, you need to learn more. I am so thankful that I am brought into the students' lives. I truly have made many friends in the northern communities across Canada. We have some who are now WETT certified because they have taken the 3 core courses, the code compliance course, the wood burning course, and the site basic course. They've gone on and installed at least 30 wood stove systems and have more than 80 weeks experience. One thing that was unique that I did see was how the success in the exams were. When the students wrote the code compliance exam, most students received marks in the low 70s. This was lower than the average WETT code compliance class in the rest of Canada.
I think we have the results for those polls
Okay.
there, Henry.
Sure. Have you worked with high efficient stoves, advanced combustion stoves in your community or tribal council, such as the Osborne 2000? 10% said often, 32% not often, 32% hoping in the future, and 26% do not have access or need to use one.
Thank you, Henry.
I'll continue with the code compliance results. So the average mark was in the low 70s. This is lower than the average WETT student receives in their code compliance exam in the rest of Canada. When it came to the wood burning exam, most students' marks increased to high 70s and low 80s. In the rest of Canada, the wood burning exam results were lower on the average than what the student received for a mark in their code compliance exam. When the students wrote their site basic exam, their marks increased yet again to high 80s and low 90s, putting them well above the average and among the top marks in all of Canada. I am proud of the students. They accomplished a lot. One student once said to me, "I cannot understand you. As a child, I was taught to speak OG Cree and English, and you speak neither." I responded, "Yes, you are correct. Code language is not the way we converse in a public amongst each other. It is legal language. But remember, to learn Greek or Hebrew would be very hard. Yet children learn it and speak it. So if they can, so can you." The students enjoyed that answer, and I have to say that student did learn that new language, that code language, and did very well on the exams. In this short presentation, I am unable to tell you all what we have seen and observed. In these past few years, what all happened and all the experiences we did receive. Books would have to be written to convey them all to you. These students from 2 communities in these pictures did well, as did all the students in the communities we're in, successfully completing their training. Look at their faces. and I see individuals who know they accomplished something, I am very thankful to have met each one. They worked hard. I thank you for permitting me this opportunity to speak with you all. I am sure you will have many questions. Thank you again for listening and for me being able to speak with you all.
Thank you, Henry. At this point, we'll start taking some questions for our presenters, both Mike and Henry. And so if you have any questions, please put them in the Q&A section, and we'll do our best to get to everyone as we go along. So first off, we have a question from Corey Tarbell. He said, as a building inspector and volunteer firefighter in our community, I have seen way too many unnecessary fires due to improper installation. How are you monitoring or enforcing the WETT certified installers on your territories?
I don't know if I can answer that one, Mike, but I could say that the communities we've been into, NAN has sent us back up into those communities, and we have conducted inspections of every single one of the new stoves that have gone in. If there was any deficiencies, they did go and fix them, and they have good installations there. I agree, there's way too many poor installations. And what I see in the north, you could cry. Guys who call themselves professionals, and they go in and yeah, they install poor, and it puts the family in danger who lives there.
It also kind of goes back to I guess the lack of standards at the community level, the lack of building codes and fire codes that need to be implemented. And so that's why it was important for us within this project to establish that training part, to ensure that you know, the community members were certified to WETT standard and code. So I would just say that that was a very important part of the project.
Thank you, guys. Next question was emailed in to us. What happens to a wood stove or chimney if green wood is used on a regular basis?
You build up creosote and soot at a fast rate, and you will have a chimney fire. So if you're seeing smoke coming out of your chimney, in most cases, that's because the wood was too wet.
Thank you, Henry. Are you aware of a similar opportunity elsewhere in the country on the Woodstove Exchange program? Like, how would other regions start a similar project, I guess?
They could contact me.
Yeah, I'll also add to that too. How this first started was through, at the time, a few years ago, Ontario had, the province of Ontario had a program, the Woodstove Exchange program, that was delivered through their, I think, one of their climate change initiatives. And so this is how our project started. We worked with them a few years ago, and has recently we're working with NRCan, Natural Resources Canada, for this year and for this year's project. So hopefully, those are the only two I know of at the current time.
Great, thank you, guys. Sorry, just getting into the next question. So Don Smith is asking why some photos showed a metal sheet on the wall and some didn't. What are the advantages or disadvantages of this?
Well, sometimes you need shielding to reduce clearances because your stove is too close to the wall. What we saw, those sheets, those sheet metal on the back, they were old heat shields that were not installed correctly, and they were just now they're not needed because the advanced combustion stoves that were being provided did not require a great amount of clearance to combustibles. So they're nothing more than a fridge magnet holder now.
Thank you. Next question is from Mark. Is WETT the only accredited program that offers training for wood stove installations throughout Ontario?
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
In Quebec, there's another organization, but only for Quebec. So I don't know if we have anybody from Quebec.
We potentially do. Is there any more information you could add to that?
It's similar. It's a cousin group that to WETT, AFP it's called, and they run their training similar to WETT's.
Okay, awesome. Next question, and I'm sorry if I get the name wrong, is from Casper. I'm going to skip the last name because I'm sure I'll say it wrong. We can't reasonably expect to train every tenant with a WETT certification. However, some tenant education would be key. Would you have any pamphlet or communication material that can be offered to tenants with best practices on utilizing the wood stove?
Yeah, to go back to the Amherst Fire Safety Campaign, one of the things we developed was a wood maintenance guide for home occupants or home users or homeowners, and so we've developed this 3-ply guide. It kind of outlines when to clean them, ensuring how to properly season wood, as Henry talked about earlier. But that's something we can share. I think it's on our website, but we can definitely share it after this presentation.
Awesome, thank you, Mike. We can include that with the recording of this presentation, which will be uploaded to our website afterwards. Okay. Next question is from Tim Archie. Will there be an enrollment to participate in the WETT program in the new year 2021?
Yeah, so if you go on the WETT website, they already have courses that are advertised. We are doing some of them virtually now, as Mike said. If we get the vaccine, we'd rather be in a classroom. So yeah, there will be courses in 2021.
Okay, so you are doing virtual courses with this? Awesome. That was another question someone had. Okay, so Diana Shaughnessy, sorry if I got that wrong, asked or stated, you mentioned North is not up to code for installation of wood stoves. How can First Nations protect their members from poor practices, extra steps, etc., to be able to assess a contractor's ability to install correctly?
I think I said many. I hope I said many, because there is some good installations in the North as well. Education, that's how you would have to protect them yourselves. The program like we're working through with NAN is a real good program.
Thank you.
Go
ahead, Mike.
If a community is, I know, just coming from the tribal council, because I used to work at a couple of them, and so we provided technical advisory services for whether it was conducting inspections and part of that work was, we did take the WETT training at the time, and as part of our housing inspections, we did look at we did assess the wood stove installations. And so if you want to reach out to your tribal council, that's assigned to the community, that's a option as well.
Awesome, thank you, Mike. Now I have a question from Panos Polizois. Sorry if I got that wrong again. How long would it typically take for creosote and soot to build up to unsafe levels with an efficient stove in comparison to a typical non-efficient stove if seasoned wood is properly used in both cases?
Okay, so it's seasoned wood. It's not. So the moisture content is good.
That's based on their question. Yes,
Yeah.
they're saying seasoned wood. Yeah.
It's going to make a big difference because you're going to be burning way cleaner. To what degree are we going to talk months? Are we going to talk days? I know when I clean my chimney once a year, I don't even have to do it yet, but I just do it because it would look real bad if I ever had a chimney fire at my place. So yeah, it would be the actual time would be a drastic difference in numbers. It would depend on how hot they're burning it, or are they damping it right down? Yeah, so I don't think an answer could be given. It definitely, the advanced combustion high efficient stove produces a lot less creosote and soot because it's burning the smoke in essence.
I forgot, I wanted to add something to a prior question. It's kind of similar to this topic. Was, one of the things, when we first started this project, we were installing, these wood burning systems to code and to WETT standards. But we had found out too that a lot of times, so with our communities, a lot of them depend on the wood stove as their main source of heat, right? If you use your baseboard electric heats, it does cost a lot on your hydro bills, right? So, and one way that a way of life, I guess, was that the homeowners would burn wet wood during the night because they said it actually lasts all night. So that was one of the reasons why they burn the wet wood. And so we saw that. So when we moved forward on this project, kind of the year two, the training on the seasoning of wood was key. And so we wanted to make sure we educated. That was part of our education curriculum, I guess, as part of this program, was how to properly season wood and why it was so important. So it was just kind of one of those lessons learned through this project.
And Mike, that does make perfect sense with the old stoves. If you have to get up at 3 a.m. every single night to load that stove, well, you're going to age pretty quick. But our forefathers, they were smart enough to realize if they put a big piece of wet wood in there, they would have heat in the cabin still, or their house in the morning. But yeah, you can't do those burn practices on our new stoves.
Thank you, guys. Next question is from Joseph Newton. For homewood stove users in First Nation communities, what is the priority relating to training and education in dealing with actual fire outbreaks?
Well, I would say that in the courses that we're doing, we teach them the codes and how we get these codes and why these codes are important. They're not just rules made up because somebody wants a rule. There's a thought behind it, and it's all about the safety of the end user. Education is critical on maintenance. How do we do a proper chimney sweep? How do we take baffles out? How do we repair the stoves? So it's education, and then education. And hands-on education is so critical.
All right, thank you. Harry Miller asked, how feasible will it be to add wood stoves at reserves in southern Manitoba that have electric heat? Last year, reserves had to move out because of the power outage.
Very feasible. Yeah, they should contact me. I live in Manitoba, so.
All right. Next question is from Clarence Meekus. Did any of your installations require any makeup/combustion air requirements? And could you explain the need for makeup/combustion air for some installations?
Did any of our installations require combustion air for the appliance? The answer was no. An advanced combustion stove, when operating, takes out about 15 at the low end to 30 CFMs at the high end, and the house better be able to withstand that. There was no issue with any of the ones that we installed, because the students also have to show the homeowner how to use the stove. So
I'll just add to, I understand the question where sometimes it's difficult to balance the home due to the positive or negative pressure within the house. If there's a negative pressure in the home, and sometimes it's difficult to start that fire because it's drawing air from the flue pipe down the chimney. If you have an HRV, that could be taking up air as well, depending on if that HRV is balanced, right? So I understand there's, with the newer types of housing that was built, starting in the early 90s, we always talk about how the homes the building envelope are sealed so tight. Essentially what it means is you need some sort of mechanical ventilation to provide fresh air and take out that stale air. And so yeah, it's definitely a challenge. It's complicated at times because there are a number of systems with the home: the wood burning system, the mechanical system, the building envelope system. So yeah, it does pose a challenge, and I think that's where educating the home owner is so important, because houses are not as simple as the older houses where you get a draft right through them, and so the new homes, there needs to be an education piece to it, because it is complex. Those homes, they're not as simple as the older houses. So that was a good question.
I should add one more thing. The combustion air, when you attach it directly to the stove, can actually be a safety issue. We get what's called a reverse flow. So if you got enough wind, it'll actually take the air down the chimney and take the exhaust gases out through your fresh air hood. And there's been many a house that's been lost. The B365 installation code for solid fuel in their Annex D has even written up a whole page on why it is a bad idea to put combustion air directly to your appliance.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. Next question is from Patrick Caraher. If wood is your only source of heat, burning all day, every day in the winter, how often should the chimney be cleaned?
Depending on the moisture content of your fuel. I'll say the fastest I've seen a chimney fire was back when it was in the late 70s. Then people thought it was good to burn railroad ties. We finished the stove in the chimney on a Friday evening, and on a Sunday night, my father got the phone call. Is there a 2-for-1 special? Guess who just left? And he had a major chimney fire in that short of time. I've seen it in some of the communities where they were burning it. They only had 3 fires in there, and there was a sizable amount of creosote buildup. So you should be checking it when the manufacturer of the wood stove says to check it every 30 days, like once a month. And heavy burning use, I would do it. 3 millimeters thick is not much. It's the thickness of a dime.
All right, thank you. Next question is from Shirley Thompson. People say that insurance is the reason why First Nations do not install wood stoves. However, that is not the reason houses burn down. It's usually faulty electrical. Could you discuss this and rationalize wood stoves?
I've seen many installations in the First Nations where the homeowners, those who live in that house, are at risk of losing their house at the bare minimum. There is codes and clearances, and a lot of it is not kept. Heat shields, I've yet to see a heat shield that was installed, other than the students installing it, that was actually installed according to the requirements in the B365.
All right.
This education is critical.
Thank you. I think we have time for one last question. Since we're not able to get to everybody, we'll work with Mike and Henry to answer the rest of them and post them on the website. All right, one last question. Here we go. Some businesses have sold Duravent ULC and UL certified flue as part of a sales package, as they could not find any extra ULC flue pipes and the homeowner installed them. Can these two be used together?
Yeah, you can use a Simpson Duravent flue pipe and chimney together. I think that's what the question was, but not in all cases. You have to read the installation manual from the chimney or the appliance, because some that are installed in mobile homes require a specific flue pipe and a specific chimney only. And they were tested that way. And I should say that if you had a chimney fire, and it was installed correctly, you'll never lose the house. And solid fuel, wood burning, like a wood stove, is probably your safest form of heat that you can get when installed correctly. I told my children that if there ever was a chimney fire, just take the inlet and close it off for the stove, and then go outside and wait for 10 minutes or so. Then maybe you can call the fire department. There's nothing that's going to happen. That's the confidence we should have.
All right, thank you, Mike and Henry. I'm afraid that's all the time we have for today. We appreciate you taking the time out of your schedules to join us.
Thank you.
All right, thank you everyone for attending today's webinar. We want to hear from you about topics you might want us to cover in future webinars, any ideas you have, success stories you'd like to share, mistakes we can learn from, projects you've done, and more. Visit our Facebook page at facebook.com/FNHCOMM to share. We also have a survey that will open at in the window right after this. We would really appreciate your thoughts and feedback. We have 2 more webinars coming up for you in the new year. The first one is Hot Topics with Indigenous Services Canada and First Nations and Inuit Health Branch, which is open for registration on our website, firstnationshousingcommunity.com. You can also subscribe online to get our latest updates, news, and webinar information right in your inbox. Thanks again for joining us, and have a great day.
Hang on, they might have something for us.